As a game, Raid Shadow Legends has a ton of different things that it's really important that you pay the best possible attention to. And so as a result, it's also really easy to make humongous mistakes that could really set your account progression down a very poor path. So in today's video, I've got 7 different crucial beginner tips that'll keep you guys on the right path and get you started strong in Raid Shadow Legends. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and if you get the option, also hype the video, as that does help me out tremendously. This is one of the best possible starter packs that can get you guys started strong. So if you want to participate in that, all you've got to do is 1, either use an account on a device that has never downloaded Raid before in the past, or 2, get on PC, download the Plarium and Play PC client. Make sure you're not signed into anything, and then on PC, click my link in the description, and that will get you started with that starter pack, which is going to be amazing. And all the things I talk about in this video, that starter pack would be humongous, again, for your progression. Get started playing Raid Shadow Legends today with my link down below in the description. When you do, you guys help me out tremendously, but that's not all. You'll also get the legendary Elenaril at sign up, the epic Uugo at level 10, and 2 other epics. And then when you use the new player code Desert Queen, you can also unlock the legendary Tuhanarak. So in total, that's over $200 worth of free goodies to help you on your journey today. So click my link in the description and get started. And I thank you for your support. So really quick, like I said, let's throw some honorable mentions in there. First thing you should be doing when you start getting enough gems is leveling up the gem mine. This will pay for itself tremendously quickly. Don't question it. You need to be putting the gems here. And then afterwards, the next best thing you can do is to invest them into the Guardian Ring and unlock your slots here, as this will be important for your progression overall. Not so much for the character level portion of it, but also, while it does help with that, of course, it's more so because of your ability to progress quickly in Forge Pass. And beyond that, you may be tempted to use the 800 gems here over on Masteries, and that would be fine every now and again, I would say. I think that's pretty fair to say. It obviously means that you can save a lot of time by doing that. But when applicable, you should be trying to manually grind those out. What I like to do is I like to put champions on my team that need levels as well, so that way they can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. The last super generic, extremely obvious tip I want to offer you guys is make sure that you are completing all of your dailies, weeklies, and monthly missions as you go. This is crucial because you're going to wind up getting free shards, energy, gems, and various other resources that will help you with your account progression. Now that we've got that out of the way, I want to just let you know that one of the biggest mistakes that is almost irreversible, or it takes a really long time to reverse for beginner players, is burning all of your resources, whether that's tomes, chickens, brews, or most importantly, shards, at a bad time. 1, I'll talk about the best times to do those things, and 2, on champions that are probably not the best investment. So firstly, I'd like to say, in order to avoid this, make sure that you are saving your skill tomes and only using them on the best of the best, unless you're putting them in a character that obviously gives you great enjoyment. That's the most important thing. You also don't want to be pushing random champions to the 6-star level if you can avoid it, because that is resources down the drain. At that point, maybe they have uses in terms of turning them into a fusion or something like that. I say as Godseeker and Neri is on. She does not fit this criteria, by the way. But you don't want to be just funneling these resources into characters haphazardly. That's the most important thing. You also don't want to be pulling pretty much any of these shards unless there's a 2x event up. They oftentimes run 15 times. Don't really worry too much about that, but they also will every so often run 2x events. That is the best possible time to be pulling these. And do not sleep on mystery shards. Mystery shards are also important because they give you characters that you can level up and progress into food champions to invest into your characters you actually are interested in using. But secondly, they could be the bridge between you being able to push deeper into a milestone on champion chase or various other forms of content. So do not sleep on mystery shards. You want to ideally have at least 1,500 of these at any given moment. Do not just summon these consistently and blow these. These are important. They matter, even though they may not seem like they do. Also, when it comes to upgrading your champions, you obviously can upgrade your champions through means of using chickens and things like that, and that's perfectly fine. Just make sure that you're using them on the right champions. You don't want to, again, just be wasting these resources. And when it comes to duplicates on champions, I would not funnel them into the character directly. The first thing you want to do with those duplicates on champions is bring them over here and put them in your Guardian Ring, which is going to be a massive bonus to you when you can put them as a faction guardian. You get all these extra stats stats here. So do not throw these dupes away. Don't sell them. Don't invest them in other champions. Don't just get rid of these things. And the key thing I want you to take away from this is that all of these resources are important. Now, the community often has this thing where it's called Wait Shadow Legends. Get it? Wait, W-A-I-T, because oftentimes in this game, there are ideal times for you to be investing your resources. You're doing your summons, doing your character progressions, etc. We're going to talk about those from here. So again, if you haven't already, make sure you do hit that thumbs up and subscribe. So one of the best possible times is when there's a clan versus clan ongoing. This is going to be huge because, as you see, this is frankly one of the best times to just spend any resources in general, whether that's doing your farming, etc. They will also have 2 X's on here, and that's ideally where you're going to be spending your energy. But the most important thing is that you are participating at the opportune times to get the most out of your energy investment, your character investment, etc. Clan versus clan has 2 variations. There's going to be personal reward variations and non-personal rewards. As you see, you want to kind of participate in personal rewards if you can to get all the rewards in here. That is very important. But again, at the bare minimum, your clan can get the clan rewards as well. You want to be, again, helping everybody out by participating. And that is simple things like unlocking your champion. Maybe you've got a fusion or something like that that you haven't done that you can complete. It's best to complete it during a clan versus clan or a champion chase, which I'll talk about in a moment. Maybe you've got a free champion from a fragment summon. Save that, sit on it for a couple of days, ideally, and unlock that champion, again, during one of those windows or another requisite event that could be ongoing. That is the idea overall, generally speaking. I know that's not the most fun or engaging way to play the game, but it is pretty important. Now, champion chase or summon chase, etc., basically revolves around you acquiring champions specifically. They also have champion training events, which would, as you would imagine, revolve around you upgrading your champions through various means. And these are events that are constantly ongoing. We just completed a champion chase, which did feature a mythical tome. I got first in this, but I got this by mostly summoning overall. And we're going to transition into how you can get some shards, namely ancient shards, which are going to be the most important resource in the game, pretty much, aside from, I guess, gems, which is a premium currency. Anyway, but they're oftentimes going to have an event correlating with that. There also will be tournaments that aren't events, etc. Well, it's all kind of one thing, but there's an event section, a tournament section, and sometimes it'll pop in either way. So keep that in mind. If you have an event like that ongoing, that is the best time to do your grinding. And oftentimes, actually, there will be a fusion or something like that that is a reason for you to be doing these events, and you can double or triple dip. So, like, for example, clan versus clan is on. There's also a champion training or champion chase event. I could double dip by playing both of these at the same time, by doing these certain things that would meet the criteria for both events at the same time. Maybe there's a dungeon diver, which is another form of event that they have, event where you have the gear hunters, right? And so with this is basically just go get gear from events. Well, guess what? This is up now. Ideally, I should have actually waited to complete this after clan versus clan started, because all the investment I've already done here is investment I could have done after clan versus clan had started and double dipped, right? There is an overlap period for the 2 events, so I could do that, and that would be the better, most optimal way. So it's all centered around just investment of your energy, investment of your time, investment of your resources, and that is kind of confusing. I know it could be a lot off the rip, but the most important thing you could do is just not make some of those mistakes and set yourself up for failure. All right, so let's move on from that, because really I said 7, but I gave you a few things in there, so we're still sticking with the 7. Anyway, one of the most important things you can do is run, don't walk. That's the right saying. Don't walk your way to a clan boss team. So clan boss is one of the most important pieces of content in the entire game. Technically all of them, but Demon Lord, especially for you early game, etc. You want to get in here ASAP and put together a team that is able to one key whatever difficulty you're playing, obviously work your way up the ladder, and you want to get to the point where you're one keying Ultra Nightmare. This is more of a mid-game thing. I'm currently 2 keying it. It is what it is. I can probably get better investment. I'm working my way there, but let me show you why, for example. So let's see what I get from Ultra Nightmare. 2 keys. I will get 2 chests because we destroyed it. Nothing fancy, but we did get the skill tome. We do get some other resources, including 10 gems. We get 2 chests because we destroyed it, and we get an ancient shard. But we do have the opportunity with that to get sacreds, and you can get legendary skill tomes. These are here, and these are extremely high value resources. Also, the void is very important too. Let's see if we get Nightmare also features this. Let's see if we get them as well here. Come on, one more try. I got a legendary skill tome. That's great. In fact, that's actually really good because I think I needed 1 or 2 more for one of the champions I'm working on. So that's actually really good. One of the things I really want. So you really want to come here. And obviously the rewards are different at the lower tiers. It's not as great, right? But the important thing about this is that this is one of your main gateways into content. It's going to be how you're going to get a lot of your gems, how you're going to get a lot of all of your resources. And then again, the other 2 demon lords, or other 2 clan bosses, excuse me, are also important. So in order to get through this, you want to build a simple but stable clan boss team featuring an attack down champion, somebody that can do that for you, or a poisoner, or an HP burner, some combinations of these things. There's some OG teams you can look up that are unkillable. They go around the unkillable buff and get the enemy down. There's full poison compositions with characters like epics. There's of all different rarities ultimately, but you probably started the game with Kale. He's a character that I would push to 6-star for this specifically, because he can be good even in Ultra Nightmare for you as well, with good champions around him as the criteria. You also want to have an increased defense or a sustained character on your team, ideally to help you out. And then also you want to have a speed booster. It is really important that you build a speed booster, whether that's with their aura skill or just a character that has turn meter manipulation that can help you take more turns as we go on. And ultimately you want to be stacking these debuffs on the enemy and then just funneling out great damage, poison, HP burn, or just hard hitting characters overall. But the number one thing with that is that for your characters, you need to have on the right masteries too, but you need to have a DPS character ideally that can help carry you in clan boss. So again, an attack debuffer, a poisoner ideally, or again, you can go HP burn or just go pure DPS, whatever, but you want to have a DPS, a speed booster, a sustained character. These are all different roles that could be on your teams that could be beneficial to you overall. Now, masteries is the next tip here, and you want to prioritize your masteries, not really anything else. Masteries are probably the biggest gateway other than skill levels, and of course, ascension matters, other min-maxing factors matter on your characters, etc. So don't hear what I'm not saying, but masteries are extremely important. We kind of alluded to them earlier, but masteries really make or break a champion and their usability in a lot of content. For example, for your DPS characters, you want to be coming down here and grabbing War Master most of the time. Has a 60% chance of inflicting bonus damage when attacking. Bonus damage is equal to 10% of the target champion's max HP or 4% of the target champion's max HP when attacking bosses. The bonus damage can only occur once per skill and does not count as an extra hit. So really strong against those chunky bosses overall. That is going to be humongous for you. Do not sleep on War Master. It is going to give you such a fat power spike. It's going to be humongous for you masteries. And then there's other things in here: crit rate, crit damage, just other accuracy increases, etc. All vital things to your account, your characters, and how strong they are. Masteries are the real deal, which is why, like I said in the beginning, I can understand why you would use gems to just quickly do it. But if you're a free player, it's still best to obviously grind out the Minotaur and get that done, because it does cost about 800 energy, give or take, per one champion. So it will take a bit of time. But what I would say is that your first 2 or 3 level 60 6-star champions should feature the mastery trait of War Master overall. You want to make sure you're getting that on your characters, again, ASAP. Because it is the single thing that truly unlocks boss progression. While again acknowledging there's a bunch of other things you can do. But anyway, that is very important. I want to drive that home. Also, if you're like me, you probably have some gear in here that's less than optimal that you've invested in. I just got to say, stop investing in it. Just stop overall. For example, the most valuable pieces of gear, aside from the gear sets, because bad gear exists through and through, right? Whether the set is good or not, as you play early game, you're not really going to have access to the best gear or the best gear sets. You're going to have to use some of the basic ones and then kind of work your way up. Early game, though, the speed set is your best friend. You need speed. You can get this from Story. You can get this from Dragon as well. It's not very hard to get. Speed is your best friend. It is the most important stat in the game, and so obviously a set that gives you speed is great. Ideally, though, you're looking at higher rarities and or 6-star, maybe 5-star at the minimum. You really want to be getting that 6-star, though. Again, highly recommend that with higher rarity pieces as well. And for your boots, you really want to have speed as the primary stat. Typically on these gear, so if you see a speed primary stat, it doesn't matter any of the other criteria, just keep it, hold on to it. We need a gear lock button for the record, but this is one I will be investing in for sure. I also like the other ones here, but attack, defense, having those as flat numbers isn't really that great. Accuracy is actually probably the second most important stat, so this is actually not a bad speed boot at all. And for your other gear pieces of speed in here, ideally, and this one does, you have speed as one of their substat roles too. You want to be getting that as much as possible. When it comes to upgrading your gear, make sure you do it in increments. Don't go all the way to 16. Do it in chunks and see what happens here. Maybe it winds up all boosting one really bad stat, or who knows, right? You can, of course, at that point re-roll it if you want to, but it may not really be worth the investment. So anyway, the main thing here is don't invest in bad gear. And what is bad gear? For one, it could be a bad set, which is subjective, but as you go on, you'll see better sets. For example, offense isn't really a set that's used ever anymore. It just isn't. Lifesteal, not really, right? But the main reason why is because there are better sets that incorporate these stats into other things. And if it wasn't for the value of speed, speed would have fallen off too. So it just is what it is. Anyway, but that's mainly what I want to say. Like, higher rarity, higher level, higher star, whatever you want to say is the most important thing. And then you ideally want to have speed as a substat. On your boots, it's the only one that can roll speed as a primary stat. You want to have that there. On your gloves, you want to have a crit-based stat. Ideally, damage. That's a good spot to get a ton of damage there. But rate also works. You want to have your characters at 100% crit rate, ideally if they're a DPS character, so on and so forth. There's a lot of nuance to it, but the most important thing is don't overinvest in bad gear, because you're going to move on from that gear early. What I can say is another set that you should have good accessibility to is Perception. Perception is one that it still gets used even deeper into the game, and it's one that could be useful. But other ones you can use, again, could be Lifesteal, really good for the initial clan boss teams you may be building out. Accuracy is a decent set early on again, but Perception is the one that I would skew more towards. And then Cruel and Relentless later on as you get deeper into there. But the flat stat primaries are also ones that I would avoid. You want to get a percentage-based ones, ideally. So if this was defense plus 20, just flat, this wouldn't be great. Even though it does have this would be okay. But this is a really good piece, in my opinion, that I'm going to be investing and keeping in. So that's the idea that you want to have with your gear. Speaking of speed, what I would say is you really want to build out a speed lead for your team, and that is a speed aura-based character. And what I mean by that is a character like Deacon here increases speed by 19% in all battles. Don't get it confused though, because there are champions that will increase speed, for example, like April O'Neil here, in arena battles only. You want to have a mixture of both, because obviously if you're playing arena, this is better. It has a higher number, but a character like Deacon can supply you anywhere, including arena, so that would be something I would highly prioritize if possible. And then you can also invest other speed stats in the characters, but we're just explaining. But this is very important because these champions are going to be your primary aura in most cases. Now, aura is a little bit different. You have opportunity to move away from certain auras like speed later on in the game when your gear can make up for it. But at the early game, I would say it's very important to have a speed lead for your teams. Because again, speed is the most important thing. It's going to help you control the arena faster, control dungeon turn order, make clan bosses much more consistent, and then win other faction war stages when you start advancing to that point. So I would recommend investing in your fastest speed booster. That could be High Katoon, Diabolist, or Diabolist, Spirit Host early game as well. And you want to build one fast control champion for arena. And don't gear damage until you win the speed race, right? That's the most important thing. You want to make sure you're investing in speed, getting speed gear, getting a speed lead, getting speed-based champions that can help you, whether it's speed specifically or turn meter, again, specifically. One thing that's really going to help your early game efficiency skyrocket is the unlocking of Brutal 12-3. This is going to be one of the most important stages overall for your time playing Raid Shadow Legends. So you want to complete the campaign and run all the way through to the end of Brutal. It's really not all that hard to do. If you followed so far, you should be in a position to do this successfully, and you can do it with your starter characters, etc. That would be humongous for you. And the reason why this is important is because this is your main farming spot. This is the most highly recommended stage for investing in champion levels. Otherwise, like I said, you could double dip on other pieces of content when you're farming other things, but ideally you come here, load up your food champions, have one lead carry, and then go in and run this as many times as you need. The champions can get a high amount of levels here. Ideally, you also have on some sort of boost, whether that's Forge Pass or otherwise, but that is going to be huge. And all the while, this This is something I myself have really been sitting on, but all the while you could also be making it a point to complete your missions to help you unlock Arbiter, who is going to be one of the best speed-based champions in the game. And so make sure that you are also working on your missions. Make sure that you're pushing these before the quests overall. Obviously, you have to complete some of those quests, but make sure that you're completing these missions here, as we have some sort of lagginess happening. I'm not sure why. Cool. But you can complete a lot of these just in general while progressing through the story mode. You can complete multiple things at the same time. So work a lot on your perception gear. Like I was mentioning earlier, it's one of the best ones early game. You're going to get a ton of it, and it's going to be in the forge. You can craft it there. Don't worry so much about other modes like faction war, but you do want to be clearing your story mode, all the while working on progressing missions, unlocking the resources here, including and up to Arbiter. Obviously, it goes much farther than that, but Arbiter at the bare minimum. You want to be working on your champions. You want to be working on your speed levels and all that stuff. And the main thing is you can clear a lot of this stuff at the exact same time. You don't have to do one thing, then one thing, and then one thing. You can do a lot of things at the same time, and that would really help your early game progression. So the 7th and final tip that I have for you guys is to choose a long-term 6-star order. The first 3 6-star champions you make will define your account. Building 6 stars is pretty resource intensive. The general idea for it, if you don't have a bunch of 5-star chickens, which you're not going to have unless you're spending money, frankly, early game, the general way to do it is you're going to make these 1-star champions, you're going to level them up to level 10, and then upgrade their rank to level 2, then push these same champions up to level 3-star, and then up to 4-star, then up to 5-star, and then at that point, you can put these 5 stars into another 5-star. Now, depending on the rarity of that champion, it would need to start off at 3, 4, or 5 stars, depending where they're at. You'd have to bring them up to 5 stars as well, too. Then feed those champions through rank into that one champion you're trying to build into a 6-star, and then they would turn into a 6-star. That is quite energy intensive, does take a while. Typically don't do that outside of clan versus clan and or champion training events, like I mentioned earlier. But that is why the first few that you do will really define your account. Rule of thumb is that your starter champion is generally going to be a really safe option, especially if you started with Kale. He is one of the best ones for clan boss, specifically because of the poison, as I explained earlier. So he's a really good and safe choice. You can also look towards other champions like a War Maiden or Apothecary, Frozen Banshee, Coffin Smasher. These are all highly accessible, low rarity champions that could be really good as debuffers or supports for your clan boss team. Again, that you want to be working towards building out. And then also your speed lead. High Katoon, Deacon Armstrong, these type of champions are also going to be extremely strong. But the reason why this matters is your first 3 6 stars will determine how fast you can reach the later dragon stages, brutal clan boss, which you want to be getting to, of course, higher tiers in arena, which you also want to make sure you're participating in for the rewards, and it'd help you with your progression in Arbiter's missions. And so in a large way, the characters you choose to turn into your first 6 stars will really determine the account identity. So again, if you were paying attention, these were the 7 tips. You want to, 1, don't waste resources, protect your shards, tomes, and chickens. Don't throw those things away. Number 2, you want to speed run, don't walk, a clan boss core team. Obviously, that is something that would change as you go, get better champions, you can mix in and out, but you want to get a clan boss team up and running ASAP. You also want to prioritize your masteries in a big way, as that is going to be, and this is tip number 3, something that really will unlock high damage numbers, higher progression, higher sustainability for your champions, which should allow you to, again, progress much further early and quickly. Number 4, you don't want to be upgrading and working on bad gear. We've explained what that is. That's low rarity, low star, that's flat boosting as the primary stat, or some of the other stats in there like attack or defense or HP as flat numbers. You really don't so much want those. But if you've got accuracy, if you've got speed, especially if you've got speed as a primary stat on your boots, then those are ones I would consider keeping. Speaking of speed, tip 5 was speed equals everything. Do not sleep on speed. You want to build a speed lead. You want to make sure your gear has speed investment. You're running sets that have a set effect for speed if possible. Speed is king, especially early game. Number 6 was you want to be following your missions, and you could do multiple things at once, but the key thing here is follow your mission path and unlock and start crafting perception gear in the forge ASAP to help you with your speed and accuracy. Accuracy, again, being the second most important stat in the game. And then number 7, you want to plan your first 3 6 stars carefully. Do not throw that resource investment away. right? Because again, it is in a lot of ways account defining. That doesn't mean you can't recover. That doesn't mean that you can't be better off for it eventually, or you can't get use out of those characters you choose eventually in other means. That is not exactly what I'm saying, but it does slow you down if you choose the wrong paths to take. So make sure you are paying attention to that, whether that's digging into resources from other creators, digging into resources online like tier lists, etc. But that is very important. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe. If you haven't already, again, make sure you get started by playing the game through my link down below in the description. That would be humongous for your overall progression. 7 of those champions in my starter code are going to be huge. They're going to be great for your teams, whether it's clan boss or otherwise. So make sure you get started today using my link. It does help me out tremendously. Thank you so much. Click the video on the screen as well. I'll see you guys in that video where I talk about some of the other champions in the game that are high value.